A very warm welcome to all the viewers watching this show. We are on our ninth episode of Saturday Talk series with experts, and today we're going to discuss with Dr. Santosh Babu IAS, who is the former Principal Secretary of Government of Tamil Nadu, Information Technology Department, and CMD, Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation. And we're going to discuss about e-governance and its opportunities. This show is presented to you by Prime Point Foundation, a not for profit organization since 2000, which was started to mold youngsters in various spheres of their profession. We have the two initiatives of Prime Point Foundation, which are Presence, a national monthly e-zine since 2006, started to promote positive journalism, and we have NGPL, Next Gen Political Leaders, started to nurture young political leaders in our country as the associate partners. About today's expert. So many of you know him, and so many of you look up to him for his great initiatives he has implemented, not only in the urban areas, but also in the rural parts of our country. He is a medical doctor turned Indian Administrative Service IAS officer of the 1995 batch of Tamil Nadu cadre. He is an alumnus of the Government Medical College Trivandrum. He firmly believes that only leadership embedded in integrity and selflessness, with the ability to innovate in the governance process, can take India to prosperity. His abiding passion has been to transform governance within his jurisdiction to world class levels using modern management practices and tools that information technology provides. He has about 150 plus transformational initiatives and innovations to his credit, including installing ERP driven anytime, anywhere government offices, developing and implementing numerous web based application softwares, establishing India's first rural BPO, business process outsourcing units, etc. He has conceived and edited numerous magazines and websites. He has served the government of Tamil Nadu in various capacities as sub collector, additional collector, special officer to Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, executive director of Tamil Nadu Corporation for Development of Women Limited, joint secretary, Department of Rural Development, district collector of Sivagangai and Krishnagiri, managing director of ELCOT and CEO of Tamil Nadu E-Governance Agency, Commissioner of Horticulture and Plantation Crops, Commissioner of Indian Medicine and Homeopathy. He has served the Information Technology departments on two occasions as Secretary in 2011 to 2012 and again as Principal Secretary in 2018 to 2020. He was Chairman and Managing Director of Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation from 2014 to 2018 and again was in charge as its Principal Secretary or CMD. He also held additional charge as OSD CM Special Cell since 2016. On 22nd August 2020, he took voluntary retirement from government service with 8 years to go for retirement. He now teaches public administration at the Officers IAS Academy at Chennai. I could go on and on about Dr. Santosh Babu. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Sukriti. I think the uh, video has gone frozen. I hope you can hear me. Let me
Yes.
thank Prime Point, Srinivasan sir, and Sukriti Vadula, Sukriti Narayan for inviting me to this Saturday talks. I hope this 1 hour is mutually beneficial to to all of us and to me personally. It's been a wonderful. It's wonderful speaking to all of you. Thank you.
No, it is our pleasure, sir, because I could actually read your profile for this whole 45 minutes of the show because you've done so much, you've implemented so much. And, when I posted that in social media, people got excited and really looking forward for the show, just like me. So thank you so much for being, part of this. So yes, you are there. Wonderful.
Thank you. Sometimes technology is difficult.
No worries, sir. Like we are so, excited to have you. And sir, before starting about e-governance, because today's topic is about e-governance and its opportunities. Before going there, we are so excited to hear about your journey as an IAS officer. How did you get there? Your first posting? How was that whole journey?
Yeah, so this is interesting because my parents put into me this thought right from childhood, fourth standard onwards, by giving the first competition success review. That's the magazine which features the trials, tribulations, travails of all the IAS toppers, etc. So that's the time when the seed was frozen in my mind. And of course, after I did my medicine, of course, IAS was always the first choice. The
Mm-hmm.
other was a fallback option. I wanted to become an engineer, then a doctor, and an IAS officer. I went to engineering college to Trivandrum, was there for 2 months, and came to medicine and did this. So it's been an interesting journey because this is a huge canvas that the government of India offers to youngsters from the age group of 21 to 32 right now. At my point of time, during my times, it was 21 to 28. Now I think the canvas, I mean, the age group is slightly widened. Around 15 lakh people write this exam. So the chance of you not getting it is much higher than the chance of you getting it. The odds are much stacked against you. 15 lakh people write the exam, and during my time, it was just 80 IAS officers and equal number of IPS officers. Now it's double, around 160 IAS officers, 190 IPS officers, 36 IPS officers, totally around 800 to 850 officers in different segments, get selected to this. So it's in that sense, it's very interesting because it's very challenging. This exam prepares us for the hardest trek of life, as it were. And that actually stands in good stead, even if you don't qualify. I would exhort every youngster to try this examination because then you're trying to manage time, which is the greatest gift of all by Almighty.
So from medicine to, because yes, you did mention like right from your childhood, your parents were looking at you as an IAS officer, grooming you towards that. But from medicine to ISO, how did that happen, sir? Why did you choose medicine from engineering? You mentioned you were there for engineering for 2 months.
Yeah, this was fallback option. Obviously, as I said, qualifying is tougher, and you can't always depend on your parents for your livelihood. So, obviously, at that point of time, the arts and all were a distant dream. Today, lots of them are going to arts. That time, it was either medicine or engineering or nothing else. So that that is the reason. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So now, sir, I'll jump into our topic, which is e-governance. So what is e-governance and how did you choose that? And maybe can I call it as a specialty? Because you have, got so many laurels, you've implemented over 150 plus initiatives in e-governance. So what is e-governance basically, sir?
Yeah, actually, it comes to me very naturally because I work only between 10 and 6 p.m. And when I was holding the charge as principal secretary IT, I was holding 7 other additional charges, which meant a lot of files and a lot of work. But all the IT, making the whole offices online, then using web meetings, etc., will enable you to compress your work and still be out by 6 p.m. So it's for a very selfish reason that I started off. to make my work smart rather than work hard. The grind is because you have to deal with people, you have to deal with files, you have to deal with politicians, you have to deal with subordinates. So the IS officers day is fully packed, right from sub-collectorship onwards. So for me, e-governance was one way out to make your work very smart, because the only resource, as I said, that God Almighty has given equally to every human being is time. It's not water, it's not air, it's not food, it's nothing else. It's just purely 24 hours. The American president, you, me, the ordinary man in the street has this 24 hours. So how effectively we use the time will determine how successful you are, which depending on how you define your success. But for me, I wanted this work-life balance very early in life. So right from sub-collectorship onwards, I've been using computer and technology, etc., to make my work smart. And that actually helped me to do for the state, because it helps you to understand the boundaries of technology as it were, and bring it into governance process. So that put the seed of thought in me as to why should any citizen visit a government office. So I work on two principles. Why should any citizen visit a government office? So if you're a citizen, tax-paying citizen, and I'm paid as a civil servant to service you, why should you ever visit my government office? The second premise, which I recently added, was I know that you exist as a citizen, then why should you ever apply for anything? So I'll explain what we did on that using emerging technologies, etc. The point is that our citizens have great trouble getting very ordinary certificates. They have to go to different offices and they are asked to come again and again. So I have calculated, when I'm on a Monday grievance day, when 500,000 citizens come to the collectorate, actually they are spending around 500 rupees per head. 100 rupees coming and going, 100 rupees for food, 100 rupees for some bribe or whatever. So a lot of money is actually wasted in citizens. Yeah, whole day is gone, and there, the wage loss is also there, because lots of them are not government servants. They lose their wage also. So if you calculate on the basis of that, a big percentage of your GDP actually goes in visiting government offices. A lot of our economic loss comes in that, which is not actually factored in by government at all. And I personally feel that this is a crime, because, as I said, 24 hours is the time given to everybody. And everybody's time, including the very ordinary man's time, is very important. And we need to unleash his potential. He could spend that time more effectively in his own pursuits. So that's the thought which actually triggered this. And because of that, I have been able to bring in a lot of applications which make governance very simple and easy. For example, the file movement. Why should, today, if you look at Pumpuhar, where I was working last, we are at 24 different locations across India: Calcutta, Delhi, Bangalore, and then all the locations inside Tamil Nadu. We used to take around 30 to 40 days to do an ordinary procurement decision or a production decision. We brought down that to around 30 minutes, which is a massive change by any standards. That's the way. So the file movement is one part. So if your files move very fast, then the services also move very fast for the citizens. And if you can put some standards, like in the citizens charter, saying that so many hours, so many minutes, so many seconds will be deliver the services, that much more easier for our citizens to get those services, because they are ultimately electing us to do this, electing our politicians to make us civil servants do this for them. So that is the essence of my work, essentially.
Wow. And so I actually got stuck in the point when you mentioned, when you were in charge, you were running 7 different initiatives at the same time. So I am personally, a big fan, because I love multitasking. At the same time, we are always time poor, every minute that we get is gold, as you rightly mentioned. So how did you manage that? I want to know the secret.
Yeah, so the essence of government is file. So let's say Sukriti wants something to do with the government of Tamil Nadu. What will you do? You'll write a letter from Australia. It'll land up here. We'll put a seal on that. Then it'll travel from different locations. Finally, to take that decision by me, let's assume I'm the decision maker, it'll take some 30, 40 days. And by the time it's communicated back to you, you would have forgotten about why you wrote the letter in the first place. So this is the essential problem in governance. So the file movement, if you can make it very transparent and easy, so that nobody can tear it, antedate it, and post-date it, etc. These are things which happen in government. So that's what triggers me. And what I do is I clear all files when traveling from my home to the secretary. So that takes around 1 hour. So in that 1 hour, I clear all the 7 offices. So I was also the MD of Tamil Virtual Academy. I was also the MD of Tamil Nadu FiberNet Corporation. I was also holding additional charge of OSD, CM Specialists. So there's a lot of additional charges. See, I can easily get frustrated and say, no, I can't do all this. I'm very busy, etc. But it's so easy for all of us to say very busy. Actually, the essence of life should be to say, I have all the time in the world for everything and everybody. So that's how I look at life. Because if somebody is coming to me, it's not because they want to see my very handsome face, but it's because they come to me as an officer, as an officer, because I'm vested with those responsibilities and those little powers that you have. So it's essential for me to remain calm, cool, collected, and at the same time ensure that they get those services. So that's one part. Second is, all these queues in front of government offices, or going to the common service center. I was in 2010, 11. I was the principal secretary IT, and I was earlier to that I was the MDL core directory governance, etc. Where we introduced the concept of the common service centers, which is part of the national e-governance initiative of the government of India. We put around 6,000 centers. Now we have around 12,000 centers. Now the problem with those centers is still again you have to travel from your home. Let's say travel 2-3 kilometers, stay there for 1 hour, etc. Now we should be able to do all these services from the confines of your home. And today, because of connectivity, and there's a project called BharatNet, which is going to connect every household, every 12,524 village panchayats with between 100 and 1,000 Mbps of connectivity. It's a massive connect. We can unleash the potential, as it were, of our youngsters in the villages. You look at startups and all, they're in the cities. Why can't our startups be functioning from villages? It's not as if they don't have brains. It's that they don't have those circumstances like our city boys and girls. So it is possible to transform. That's essentially what I'm trying to tell you. Is that with technology, and you've seen in COVID, suddenly COVID came and took over an entire mechanism of working in a different way altogether. Even the very ordinary people who said, technology is beyond me, etc., uses technology today, which shows that today, if you have a computer or a smartphone, and it's available to almost all people, it's actually very easy to do your work from home. This was the best opportunity to showcase it. Yes. And with emerging technologies, today with emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, drones, you name it. We create a center for excellence in emerging technologies. We made the Honorable CM announce 4 major things. That's where I came with my second premise. That is, if you're a citizen and I know that you exist, why should you ever apply? So what we did was, and that's still in the works actually, because I got out, there's been some delay. So if you look at this as a pyramid, at the bottom, both the bases have blockchain backbone, which is the truth mechanism, which will establish the truth mechanism. And on the right side, the state family database, which will establish Sukruti Narayan as Sukruti Narayan. Instead of saying SUKRITI, somebody will write SUKRHITI, or different ways of spelling. In 36 different departments, your name can be spelled in 36 different ways, which is the reason why our databases don't speak to each other. So we try to fix you as you, and then other departments can only add to the database. There will be only one Sukruti Narayan. There will be a Makkal number for you, which is already been created by my predecessor for 7 crore people, which approximate the other number. And if I invoke your Makkal number, I can find all about Sukruti, depending on what privacy details you have set. Then other departments can only add. So let's assume there's a village woman, Lakshmi, or she'll say, my name is Lakshmi. So Lakshmi, we add all those basic details, and then give a gas service, or then you give a cycle rickshaw or something like that. Each department which is giving that can add to that database, which means we build up a database over a period of time to say that this particular Lakshmi has got these services. Now what happens is that every time a department does a survey, they have a different format. They have the way of taking down the names is different, etc. So this family database with the blockchain backbone results in what is called a predictive governance. So what my dream of my life before I go to heaven or hell, what I want to do is this thing, something called predictive governance, which is very simple actually, because technology is there. We have different databases. You look at 36 different departments of Tamil Nadu government. What happens is that 36 different databases, 36 different vendors, 36 different technologies, they don't speak to each other for nuts. We don't. And the other alternative, spend a lot of money, create what's called an India architecture. That's been done by Government of India. Only Andhra Pradesh has spent some 7,000 crores. It's a very expensive proposition, which means you have a structure from which different departments can plug in with their for database software purposes, etc. But that's a very, very expensive process. So what we now have is the API method to get into the different databases, and right from birth till death. See, you look at birth. If man is born, he also has to die, right? So there's a birth certificate, there's a death certificate, and after death also there's government in the form of a legal heir certificate. So between birth and death, there's government, right? And if you look at the number of documents that pile up over a period of time, it's mind-boggling, because those are the documents that the young man or woman requires to validate his or her own identity. Now, my point is, if you are born, and I know you are born on this date, why should you ever apply? My system will ensure that the different databases or different softwares are triggered at some point of time in your life cycle to give you that certificate. It's very interesting thought. Actually, Estonia is one country which has done blockchain backbone very, very wonderfully. You can actually sell a car in maybe less than 3 minutes across the internet. That's simple, because you're getting all the certificates. Here we'll take bring your chassis number, bring all this. So all these are essentially available online with a lot of privacy, etc. There also they don't have predictive governance. So when we announced it, the company which did that, which is called Guardtime, the CEO actually flew down to Chennai to meet me and said that, what is this predictive governance? We'd like to do it, etc. So it's a very interesting concept. We can do this. We'll be one of the first in the whole world to do predictive governance, which means you don't apply for anything except where government doesn't know. For example, you marry, government will not know when you get married until you tell them. But the government knows that you are 5 years of age, you need an Aadhaar. Or you're 10 years of age, you need a community certificate. You're 11, 15 years of age, you need a domicile certificate. All these can be triggered by the blockchain backbone. Much like, you want to send some money to your mother, but you don't have money today, but you can actually program it for next week, schedule it for next week at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. And then it automatically goes, because the money will be there at the point of time. So it's a very simple prompting triggering mechanism, which is very, very simple actually to do. The problem with e-governance is not technology. There's something called people process technology. Technology is the simplest. Process is also easier, but the most difficult thing to do is to bring about behavioral change. That's where I have always had struggles, especially with senior people, because every IAS officer is different. We can always deal with the subordinates, but dealing with IAS officers is the toughest thing, because everybody is a leader. Everybody comes with a different idea, but then that's the challenge. And I think I was on the verge of doing that, but then I had to take VRS for some particular reason. But the point I'm trying to say is that we are in the 21st century, and we should not be troubling our citizens unnecessarily for anything. They should be allowed their width and time and breadth to unleash their potential, as it were. And if you take out 5% or 10% of the time, that's criminal, according to me. And government should be acutely aware of this.
Correct. And I was actually about to ask, when you mentioned about this whole e-governance concept, so how different is it to the Aadhaar number or the Aadhaar card that we give? So is that also used as an identification number?
So the problem is you're getting into biometrics and all. So people are worried about the biometrics, etc. So my predecessor actually had done a brilliant job of putting this Makkal number. So the Makkal number is you will have a number, I'll have a number. Around 7 crore people have Makkal numbers. You're not put it outside on any database. It's there. So seeing that Makkal number, so I thought, why not create this Makkal vault, which is again, it's nothing new. It's again the Digi wallet of the government of India. So the Makkal number, Makkal vault. And when you're born, the medical department, health department's database, you can trigger to create a Makkal number for the newborn, because he or she is the only being in Tamil Nadu who will not have a Makkal number. So you create a Makkal number, and then the Makkal number will go and sit in the Makkal number database, and it can go and sit in your vault. The second thing which needs to be done is the PDF of the birth certificate. The moment they invoke this Makkal number, it will go hit the Makkal number database and go and sit in your vault. At 6 months of age, your parents will get an SMS saying that your child is ready for immunization. And these are the immunization centers at 0.5 kilometers, 0.6 kilometers with their geographic information system. When they go there, the vaccination certificate, they invoke the Makkal number database and goes to vault. At 5 years of age, you need the Aadhaar. It goes like this. Over a period of time, you would have built up a database of, let's say, 25 to 100 certificates. And let's assume at 25 years of age, the young man or woman, young girl is actually trying for a job in the government or private sector. And somebody wants to check your credentials. All they need is your permission, and you can do it in a matter of seconds. And it will become out certified by government of Tamil Nadu. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's a very, very easy thing to do. But again, as I said, legacy systems, legacy mindsets. So the biggest challenges are the mindsets.
Wow. And so with this whole process, it looks like it involves a lot of process behind. Like you clearly mentioned, people, process, and system. Like it was very clear. But do we have the skill set? So is there an opportunity, for people to be part of? So, how are you implementing the whole thing, sir?
Now, see, if you look at the market, the private sector, as it were, they have a lot of skill sets. Youngsters are getting, see, technology of, let's say, 10 years back is not what is today. The private sector is not looking for people who can program. The program is, passe. It's no longer as a big thing. You can program from the net itself. You can do that. They are looking for, people who have skills in emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, virtual reality, and all these skill sets. And a lot of them are, after doing engineering or during the engineering time itself, lots of them are actually getting into these technologies. So it's not as if we have dearth of skill sets. We need to hone those skill sets. For example, Kerala, they are doing what's called a Kerala Blockchain Academy. So we were on the verge. I think today they have announced a policy for artificial intelligence in the Connect program, CIA Connect program. Currently, the meeting is on there. And there's also a blockchain backbone, blockchain policy also has come out today. But we need to take decisions fast because the world is moving at a frenetic pace, and we need to come out with things very fast. You should not be an also ran. You should be the pioneer. So that's where I've been telling our government that we need to move very fast on these things, create these academies, create these skill sets, and government can give this stamp of authority. So much the better for our boys and girls. As I was sitting in Kerala Blockchain Academy, there were calls from Germany and Canada for skill sets. So you can imagine what the market is for these skill sets. And I think we need to prepare our youngsters for this. And not only in Chennai, in all our hinterlands, including our villages, boys and girls are amazing walking, talking molecules of talent. We just need to unleash those potential.
Beautiful. And so in 2017, Pumpuhar won the National E-Governance Award and the Scotch Smart Governance Platinum Award under your leadership. So when you mentioned about Pumpuhar, I thought I would ask you more about that. So what did you do different, and why did you choose Pumpuhar?
So, Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation is popularly known as Pumpuhar, and generally that's considered a punishment post. Nobody will ever say, make me CMD of Pumpuhar. Okay, so I had come from Harvard after doing this one-year course at Singapore National University and Harvard. I thought I'll be made the Commissioner of Chennai Corporation. I want to make Chennai the world's cleanest city or world's beautiful city, etc. But then they put me in Pumpuhar. So then the officer actually, what they do is they will build their time and try to get other postings. But when I went inside, I found, oh my God, this is amazing because whatever it is, the Tamil Nadu, any state, the stamp of culture is what creates our legacies, right? And so this Pumpuhar had always been a brand name. My predecessors had done a wonderful name of promoting this brand name. So I wanted to piggy ride on this brand name to create something extraordinary. So we want to delight customers, we want to delight government, and we want to delight my officers and staff. So this is a sleepy government organization, 2 buildings, at 12 showrooms, 7 production centers, etc. So regular office. So what we did was, in the first month itself of joining, we made it completely online office. All 24 locations across India connected. So online office, I put 106 CCTV cameras across India. Pilferage came down from 25 lakhs a year average to 0. I put accounting online. So if you can put that slide, you can see every aspect of the 4 pillars we took. One was administration, second was marketing, third was designing, and fourth was production. All the 4 pillars we made online. So on administration, we made e-office, an ERP. Second is e-accounting, Tally software, e-monitoring. I gave around 40 iPads to all my marketing managers so that nobody needs to visit physically. We can see using the FaceTime service, etc. E-reviews. Then we use social media like Massive. And on design, on marketing, we put immediately our own pumpuhar.com, which is our e-commerce. And this is in 2014 I'm talking about. And I was there till 2018. Marketing became online. And then we put ourselves on all the Amazons of the world, all the big guys, Flipkart, Amazon, you name it, Hindu Echo, all the e-commerce sites. And on the production side, we created 12 more locations with common facility centers. We brought the best CNC machines from the US. for design purposes. And we also create what's called a design research development center in my office. So if you can come, I can put Sukriti Vora under a machine, scan you, and give you an entire bust, whole body or whole bust in a matter of 2 days. So that's the scale at which we are talking about. Recently, another department wanted to give for a girl who is visually impaired. She got into the civil services, so they wanted to give a particular design trophy. We designed it in a matter of 2 days. We 3D printed out the design mold, sent it by email to Tanjavur. They produced it there and they got it back exactly 48 hours. And the Honorable CM gave it to the young girl. So technology is administration, marketing, production, design. So today I can actually compete to produce the Oscar award. If you look at the Oscar award, it's not a very sophisticated award. If you see people carrying it, it's a very simple thing. I can actually make it a very beautiful design with all our designers sitting there. So it's possible to do world-class work, is what I'm trying to tell government. That should not look at government as a place where we do average work. We should be thinking beyond world-class. And that's what we do in Pumbuhar. So that's why we won the national award. The point I was trying to make there is that we need to lay benchmarks. And we should compete with the private sector, not compete with the private sector. We should, cooperate and coordinate with the private sector to bring out the best in our human resources. All these people, they come into the office and they think that they're doing an average job. They should get exuberance, exultation by being in government itself. So if you visit my office today, it's a world-class office. It's one of the most beautiful offices. I have added 2 more floors. We put a lift. Everything is so beautiful. And if you put out that video where we have brought virtual reality, India's first virtual reality showroom and first augmented reality app. I mean, if you can put those 2 videos, which is 30 seconds each, I think that will kind of illustrate what.
Definitely, sir. We'll play the video for.
The Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation now proudly presents Pumbuhar Augmented Reality app to all the patrons of handicrafts to gain an exclusive experience. This amazing app empowers you not only to choose your favorite Pumbuhar handicrafts items or articles, but interestingly, place them wherever and however you want, like these. This amazing Pumbuhar Augmented Reality app is available free on Android Play Store and Apple iOS stores. Now, grab your mobile, select your favorite Pumbuhar handicrafts items, get a fast and safe door delivery. Pumbuhar Augmented Reality app. Pumbuhar Immersive Virtual Reality Showroom. The Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation now proudly presents Pumbuhar Immersive Virtual Reality Showroom to all patrons of handicrafts to gain an exclusive experience. Now walk into any of these Pumbuhar Immersive VR showroom and dive into the Pumbuhar Virtual Gallery. Here you can walk to and pick any handicrafts item or article and get the look and feel of it. Also, you can order all the handicrafts items immediately. Your favorite handicrafts items will be safely packaged and delivered in no time. Come and feel the Pumbuhar Immersive Virtual Reality experience.
Wow. When you mentioned that mostly others think that as a punishment, to be part of Pumbuhar, but though, you came from Harvard, you've done so much. I just remember about this proverb in Tamil, which says "Pallavanukku pullum ayudam," which means even like for a great warrior, even a blade of grass is an amazing weapon. So wow, seeing augmented reality, because mostly like we have in a mindset that okay, government offices are slow. If you go there, it'll take easy a month to 45 days to get things sorted. But when you mention about exactly, you don't want 30 to 40 days, but instead of that in 30 minutes, when you want to resolve, that is amazing, sir. Such a relief to know. And definitely I would feel, I don't know, like in which countries, like in different parts of the world they're implementing, because things are taking time even in like, developed nations, but especially in India, if you have such a thought, you are definitely, you have a great vision for us. We are lucky to have you.
My privilege.
So now we are opening the floor for questions from the audience. So here I have a question. Okay, so that would be, what will be the key characteristics to be a very successful IAS officer? Is the first question. So I definitely someone is inspired.
Yeah. So see, an IAS officer is a leader by design default. Whatever it is, you're a leader. And what is leadership? Leadership mean to you? Leadership is all about communicating a compelling aspiration. How do you tell your subordinates who are dull and they're not inspired, etc., to say that you need to build the Taj Mahal? How do you do that? You can't do it overnight. You need to be. See, for example, leadership. I would expand to say L would stand for being a good listener. Now, in my office, when I had 2 floors, when I joined the office, my driver came and told me, sir, in my first think tank meeting, anybody can talk, from the peon to, and you're the last person, you're the only person who doesn't have domain knowledge. Even the peon has better knowledge about that organization. So I would listen to everybody. So the driver said, sir, there are only 2 rooms, and the PC people are all sitting in the cellar. It's a very dirty environment, etc. Why don't you build 2 more floors? Actually, I converted that into a 2 crore project. And when I asked money from government, they didn't give me. And then I went to Nabard to get a loan. We constructed the 2 floors, but I didn't spend any money from the loan. Also, we were.
Sorry to interrupt. We can't see you. Can't see your video.
Yeah.
So I just thought.
Now I'm there. I think. Yeah, I think there's some.
Yes. Some issue. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. I'll keep talking because I don't have a perfect. So I'll keep talking, but you can hear me as it comes to. Yeah, so I converted a 2.5 crore project, and now you can see it's a wonderful office. So the idea need not necessarily come from you. You could listen to others and everybody. And in fact, you should be open. Eyes and ears should be open. E should be standing for empathy and being ethical. A would stand for, if you have an agenda, you should not have a personal agenda. The agenda should be the absolute common weal. D would stand for direction and discipline. E would stand, I forgot. R would stand for responsibility. You should be somebody who should be the first to come into a crisis and last to go out. So you should be a leader through and through, somebody like the captain of the Titanic ship. S should be for increasing your sphere of influence by your personal worth. P would be for passion. H should be for being happy all the time, because God didn't create us to be unhappy. I think we have to be happy 24/7. That depends on how you design your day, how you budget your time. And I would stand for inspiration, getting inspired even from the smallest of things, getting inspired from the poorest of people, getting inspired from the richest of people. I don't care, but if I get inspiration, my day is made. And P is for passion. I have not grown beyond 23. Even though I become 53 now, going to be 53. But that's a point. We need to learn from Dr. Kalam. If you stand with him, if you sit with him, there's a feeling of being electric. That's what that man transmits to you, and not many people do that at leadership levels. And he will be so curious. When I met with him, he was like I was like a 15-year-old, but he was like a 5-year-old. That's the curiosity that man evinced. How do you do this? How do you do that? Etc. As if he doesn't know. But he was trying to put me at ease. That's the kind of people we want at leadership levels, especially at political levels. This country is such a beautiful place. You are in Australia, but your heart is in India, I'm sure, and you'd like to see it better than Australia, isn't it? That's what I dream of. Before we close our eyes, all our people should be not above poverty line. They should be looking at the prosperity line, as it were. And we should be able to, with the kind of data and things that we can do, boundaries are absolutely not there.
Absolutely. And sir, I have another question. How e-governance in India adopts cloud computing?
We all have, see, for example, ELCOT is the agency. I created the first data center in Tamil Nadu. That was around 2008 to 10. We created the state data center. And today it's much more equipped with the cloud facilities there. We are also approaching, different government departments are also approaching, for example, AWS, approaching Microsoft, etc., to put their applications online. The only problem is there's a data localization policy of the government of India where you can't put it in a server which is located outside the country. So that being the case, we are not averse to it. The only problem is we need to be very very sure that the data is secure, safe, it will not be lost, and there'll be accountability. That's the only thing. We are using cloud heavily. For example, I am on the cloud. My PUBHAR was on the cloud for our all our applications as a mirror service.
Okay, so cloud is being used. Wow.
Yeah.
And so we have a question: how corruption can be minimized or eliminated through e-governance?
Yeah. So there are two levels of corruption. One is at the lower levels, bureaucratic levels. The other is at the political level. I mean, let's not talk about the political level because that cannot be solved with e-governance. But with e-governance, you can actually set timelines. You can set self what's called if somebody doesn't see the file, then automatically it should be escalated to the next level, and the next level also doesn't take, it should be deemed to be approved, etc. So it's possible to set those parameters on this thing. So if you look at railways ticketing, when they introduced that, the whole crowd disappeared, and you could do from the confines of your home. When you don't visit a government office, that's why I keep saying, if you visit somebody like me, I can always take advantage of your weaknesses and ask for a money or bribe or a transaction cost or whatever. But I can also delay you. But if it's linked to also salaries, and performance is linked to salaries, like in the private sector, I mean, it's a very wishful thing on the part of the government servants. But time is not far away when performance will be measured on. Performance will be actually measured on how you were delivered the services, how fast it was delivered, whether it's delivered within those time schedules, etc. So at lower levels, I feel that almost 100% can be reduced. I certainly feel, because it's a question of putting in those things which at the software level to ensure that this thing doesn't happen. If it, in spite of that, it happens, then it's only here and there. It will not be universal.
Great. And another question, can we see government departments organizing hackathon and accelerator programs to bring in your people to drive the AI and ML? I think ML is machine learning, and AI artificial intelligence into reality, and creating a platform for frugal innovation to scale up.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. The startup mission, the Tamil Nadu startup mission, and the startup policy of Tamil Nadu government is a very wonderful policy. It's slowly on the works. It's not the speed at which I would want it to, but I worked heavily behind it also. So there are a lot of startups are there. They have to register with on the website of the TANSIM. It's the Tamil Nadu Startups and Innovation Mission, to get those supports. For example, they want to visit San Francisco. It's a lot of costs. It's not possible to subsidize those costs or make it free for the youngsters to go there. It's not possible for them to come over here. So exchange mechanisms. One, two is creating what does a startup require? A startup is actually looking for easy markets, and which is a bigger market than government. Suppose let's assume that Sukruti or your team actually discovers a flow meter, which can actually make your water flow simple and stress-free. You can take it to the Tamil Nadu Water Supply Department, and they can open up their entire. So there are issues with those, because today a startup cannot get into a tender, because then you'll ask for 100 years of experience and 1,000 years of government experience, and this turnover and that turnover, etc. But I think that is being solved partially through the Tender Transparency Act, where they are giving an exemption for startups. If they have a brilliant idea, they can come in. But we need to do a lot more. The policy is there. It's a fantastic policy. A lot of hackathons. I have personally attended at least 5 or 6 hackathons. I was chairman of one hackathon in the Forge, which is an incubator in Coimbatore. A lot of these are being done by TANSIM. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's not being publicized like in other states. So that's one drawback, I feel. But if you go to IIT Chennai, IIT Madras, or some of those incubators that are there, I myself started what's called the Center for Excellence in FinTech, which is again an incubator for financial technologies. So a lot of work is happening. A lot of hackathons are happening. It's not getting getting publicity that it deserves. I would rather that the state becomes the nerve center, or the for world-renowned innovations, and it's happening actually. If you go to IIT Madras, you'll find a lot of technologies that are being used by companies or multinationals based in the US, and none of those technologies are being used locally, which is a pity, isn't it? IIT is located just next to us, and we don't use those technologies, which is a pity. So I've been telling government that we should have a department called the Department for Science and Technology Innovations and Startups and Innovations, ST and SI department. I, in fact, wrote a file. I wrote 7 pages. I never write. I actually type. But that day, in a frenzy, I wrote 7 pages that we should have this department. And God willing, it may happen sooner than later. But somebody, a young boy of 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, should be able to walk into my room and say, "I have an innovation in hand, and please, can you help me?" That should be the level of confidence that our youngsters should have in government. So I think that this will happen. Things are happening, but not at the pace at which you or I would want.
Correct. And actually, that question was asked from London. So I would say, though, like as you rightly mentioned, though we are in different parts of the world, our heart is still, towards where we hailed from. And actually, it is so, like, we feel so happy to know about so many initiatives that are happening. But yes, it will take time for people to know. But that's amazing to know, sir. And also, we have Dr. Amarendra Reddy. Like he said, it's very, informative. And he's from London, and he feels they're able to relate to this particular show. And so, one last question before we close this session. So, I think even I would relate to this question. So, what will you call as your best moment so far?
Obviously, I mentioned my CV also, which is when Dr. Kalam called me on the telephone, spoke to me for 1 hour, looked at my back to school software. So I had brought back around 10,000 out of school children in Krishnagiri. We would get them physically, lift them out of nowhere from the villages. They'll be running away, but my 7,000, 8,000 village volunteer force would pick them up, bring them to my collectorate, watch them, put them in school, and anything they ask under the sun we'll give, because the collector in Tamil Nadu is very empowered to do all that. So we brought back 10,000 out of school children. I had a tracking software. If somebody drops out also, we'll get to know and we'll keep. So I got a best collector award for that. But nobody ever asked me what is that software, how I did that, etc. But one fine morning, I get a call from Dr. Kalam. I got, in fact, 14 calls. I didn't see it. And then I was in a village in Kanchipuram. And then sir came online, and I actually took him through the software. He was in Delhi. I was in Kanchipuram. Halfway through, the software stopped, and he was asking why it's not working. I said, which browser you're working on? We're working on Chrome. I said, it won't work on Chrome. What the useless software you have, which doesn't work, etc. He was chiding me. I said, it works only Explorer, because that time in 2006 when I did it, I had only this Explorer. So I took him through it, and he was amazed at how this whole software allows us to track each and every child. What is the help that is being given to them? Multiple departments give multiple helps through the software. So it's called backtoschool.in. Now it's not working. Mm-hmm. So after that, around 58th minute, my phone conked off, and my boss also was calling. There were 4 ministers on stage. I was next to that in a school trying to speak to Dr. Kalam. And then this conks off, and then I'm going to stage, and so disappointed. But after 1 week, he sends me a mail saying that this is what I like to talk about you at the National Civil Services Day on April 21st, 2012. Would you have anything to add? Or I had goosebumps reading it. And after many days, I forgot completely about it. But one officer, junior officer from Tamil Nadu, she was in Delhi. She says, "Dr. Kalam is speaking something about you on stage in front of the Prime Minister." And I was so amazed. And I was, those are the moments that it's like a Nobel Prize coming from somebody like Dr. Kalam. That's the inspiration that the man provides from out of nowhere. So that was my best moment.
And we should say, you take inspiration, and you actually inspire so many of us around. And because, as I mentioned earlier, most of us, when we say government offices, we see, yes, it's just 9 to 5, they take their own time. But just so happy to see gems like you, who are driving, who give a very different approach. And when you said 9 to 6 driving technology, we are like, wow, it is just like an IT office that you're talking about. And I must mention another point here, sir, because time budgeting, it is the first time ever that I've heard, and that's from you. Because mostly budgeting comes with money or any other valuable thing, and not many see time.
I'm developing an application app now. It's called SkyAS, SKYAS, SkyAS. It's called Design Your Day. So basically, you can feed all that you want for the next month and see whether you're following it up, etc. So I think in another 2 weeks I'll be launching that application. So that's basically, when we are not aware, as we speak, the time goes so fast. So time is the biggest leveler. I saw you maybe 3-4 years back when you came to my office. Today, after many years of being, you still remain the same. But the point is, time flies, and we can't waste time. We need to do so many things for our people. Because the ordinary man on the I keep telling the story. There is the person who built this room. He doesn't have access to this room after we occupy it. Or the people who build the roads can't ply their own vehicle, and the people who give us food, they don't have 2-3 square meals. And my own artisans, they are in penury. So basically, the poor are cross-subsidizing our happiness, and we owe it to them because they are the people who are building our nation brick by brick, as it were. To also bring them to our level, if not better than us, so that we have an equal. We have 2-3 national highways now. We need to all level it to become a developed nation, and that should not be far away. I think in our lifetimes we should be able to see this. I should thank Prime Point Srinivasan sir. It's my terrific inspiration all the time. We came together because of Dr. Kalam, and I'm also happy that you're doing extremely well in Australia. You're an actress. You're doing well like these programs, and you're an inspiration yourself. I wish to thank. I don't know whether this is a time to thank, but I wish to thank all of you for taking out your time to listen to this. There were ever so many things I could have shown you, but again, as I said, it's 1 hour, and we compress all our thoughts in 1 hour. I hope I have done justice to what you think.
And I can't believe it's been 7 years since we've met, sir. When you told me, it just got me thinking, because it's been about 4 years since I came to Australia. It's been about 7 years since we met, and memories are fresh, and you are still the same, sir. I should say, when I met you, like so much energy, so much inspiration, like you gave me, you motivate us, and just your presence, we feel, okay, we need to do more. And I would say you're very easily approachable, like for a person of your character. It's just like, when we text you.
Now I'm out of the IAS. I'm out of the IAS. I'm teaching at the IAS Academy. That's interesting. And I'm doing a lot of work on startups. There's a big startup that I'm trying to launch. You'll get to know as we launch it. It's a very interesting idea. Let's hope, these are all meant to ensure that we have a level playing field and, the country moves faster.
And so one more question. So if audience have definitely, we're all so pumped up now. So if they want to contact you, what would be the best contact? And also I must say, you're like one of the very few officers who have who has a website showing all your work. Is that correct, sir? How did you go about? Okay, I think I know the answer.
This was developed by me personally. Somebody, of course, created the HTML pages on and the content management system, but slowly over a period of time, because the problem is we keep doing things but we don't document it. So I thought it's interesting if I can document my work. That's the idea. I put all my works inside, most of my work. Still a lot of work has to be put in, but it'll be interesting because who is this animal? Nobody knows. So just to ensure that people understand me, where I come from, what I represent. That's why I thought I'll keep the site. So this site is the best way to reach me because I have the personal website, which is a personal email ID, santosh@santoshbabu.org. My WhatsApp number is another way to reach me, 9940474863. So that's the best way to reach. And my email ID is thesantinets@yahoo.com. So today the world is so small, it's so easy. Just Google LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm a big Facebooker, heavily on social media. So you can't miss me by a whisker.
Wow, what can we say, sir? It was like, normally I summarize the conversation. I'm stuck to your time management because I'm a big fan of how you manage so many initiatives with the same amount of energy. I can just go on and on about you, can't I? So thank you so much for being part of our show. Thank you so much.
Absolute privilege. God bless. Do well.
Thank you.
All the people who are watching, do well. You're all amazing individuals. We have a great country. We need to do for our country. We just need to live for our country. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. what can we say, right? Like we had, it's definitely, it's such an inspiring session, I would say, for all the viewers who watched the show. And I see questions pouring. Unfortunately, we have only so much time that we could ask these questions. So, as I mentioned, he put in slide the best way to contact him. So, yes, do reach out to him, do write to him, your thoughts. And next week, at the same time, in same window, we're going to see about the technology and its opportunities by Dr. Srimati Kesan. And until then, it is your Sukriti Narayanan signing off from Australia. Stay safe and take care. Bye.